So I might get cut off in this video, but I was listening to an audiobook, but I was also having a flashback of the orphanage, believe it or not, St. Anne's. So I remember a kid having to get ripped out of his room to go get dialysis or some type of treatment and crying every morning. And I remember seeing the rooms, and there's like 10 to 14 rooms, 2 kids to a room, and there are more than one. There's 2 sides to each floor. So, I would say 48 kids per floor, and each floor about the same age group, maybe 1 to 2 age group. As you get older, they move you up to different floors, and there's a women below us at the same age. I got to meet some of these women during Halloween parties, and I'm only 4 years old, so don't think that this is anything special. And they're not really women; they're little girls. They're 4 or 5. I'm 4 or 5. There's different age groups. So I'm trying to sleep here. You might notice that my voice seems normal. That's because it is completely blacked out, and I've sat here for more than an hour just trying to fall asleep with the kitty cat next to me who just sneezed. So I'm going to go over what I remembered and what the flashback is about to get it out. It helps. So I sit down at breakfast, and there's a glass of orange juice at the table. It's a very long table. Now I have a kid next to me, a kid to my left. I am on the furthest part of the table away from the dishwasher, what is near a bunch of cabinets and a sink. We are supposed to rinse off our plate and put it in this dishwasher after we're done. And I'm eating powdered eggs, some sausage, maybe flat or lynx, and a glass of orange juice. I go to eat my eggs, and I'm pretty hungry this morning, and the eggs don't taste too bad. The kid to my right takes a bottle of ketchup on the table. This is the same kid who told me to try ketchup on my eggs, and it wasn't too bad. He takes the ketchup on the table and puts it in my orange juice. He asks me if I'm mad. I say no, and I ignore him and go back to my eggs, and I just decide I'm not going to drink the orange juice. He then goes, "Oh yeah, watch this." And he gets up and leaves the table. I look over and he's just talking to staff, so I go back to eating my eggs. At this point, a staff member taps me on the shoulder and asks me if I'd taken my medication. I'm now very confused, so I just tell her the truth. Yes, I did. You gave me some pills and I swallowed them. I really wish you guys would stop forcing pills on me. I don't tell her that, but I'm thinking it. And I just tell her, yes, I took my medication because I did. They gave me a pill in my hand 30 minutes before the egg, and I swallowed them. They're normally amphetamines. Yes, they give 4 and 5-year-old orphans amphetamines in these orphanage. They have one psychiatrist in the building that's allowed to write prescriptions for over 100 kids. He only can see each kid for about 15 minutes a month, and he can't even remember the fucking kids' names. He called me a bunch of different names, Jack, Billy. He could never remember my frickin' name. So anyways, they just pretty much throw tranquilizers and amphetamines at these kids like crazy. But they give me only 2 pills. Meanwhile, my mother was giving me overdoses with mixtures of her medication and fucking nuts shit. So my adopted mother was no better. Anyways, so I answer the question, yes, I took my medication, and now I turn back to my eggs. And then she goes, what is that stuff in your orange juice? So I tell her, Billy or whatever his name is next to me squirted ketchup in my orange juice. So then they go, okay, well, we're going to go talk to the nurse. I go, what the fuck is going on? So I don't say that out loud. I think it to my head, and I don't say the fuck because I actually don't know that word yet. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? So they bring me only a little bit. It's at like, it's in another room, but it's like right next to where this table is. So it's not far, but it is right around the corner. It's not in the same room, but it is very close. The nurse asked me if I took my meds. I said yes. They asked me what was in the orange juice. I told them about my next, the kid next to me putting the ketchup in the orange juice. At this point, the nurse asked if the orange juice is still on the table. I said, of course it is. It's right there. Then the staff member says, no, we cleared it and rinsed it out. They said, did anybody check it for ketchup? They said nobody was paying attention. Then the nurse says, well, we're going to have to give you a dose of medication. I say, I already took it. They said, well, that's too bad. And then they grab my arms, they throw me to the floor, they inject me with medication, and they force pills down my throat. This is not the first and only time I'm double dosed. I'm not going to go through the flashback because I don't need any more, but Lowell Treatment Center also held me down and gave me way, way more than that double medication on another child's word who was just trying to get back at me for nothing, for nothing. This is just children who are acting up. I mean, this is Lowell Treatment Center. They're putting me with psycho roommates who are known to be liars and mentally ill. Meanwhile, I am totally just fine. I ran the scientific method, and that's why I'm there. I tried to light a match to slug slime. So that's why I'm at Lowell Treatment Center. Meanwhile, my roommate tried to hit his grandmother with a hammer, or he tried to slice his own finger off, or he tried to rape his little sister, or he took a kitchen knife to a baby's crib and tried to stab the baby. Meanwhile, what did I do? I tried to light a match to slime slug to see if I could make a new fire extinguisher when I get older. Anyways, that's why I was double dosed and why I was given Ritalin, Thorazine, Seroquel, Haldol, Trazodone, Lamictal, Risperidone, and much, much more. Because I'm lighting a match to a slime slug one time. Because my mother is making up a lot of fantasies. Anyways. I was double dosed in that orphanage. I also remember having a dream of a skeleton guy on Halloween making a perfect color for Frankenstein, but then nobody wanting to put a Frankenstein on there and telling me I shouldn't have made a green color. What was kind of weird, I remember winning the Best Behaved Kid of the Month prize. I remember sitting on the Pope's lap. I remember winning the swimming medal, but having my hair get kind of cold because my hair was still wet from the treading of the water, holding my breath underwater. Just a basic swimming lesson for 5-year-olds. There was nothing. It was tread water, hold your breath, and somebody, an adult, in the water. And then they just had us tread water, and whoever treaded the longest got a medal, and that was me. And the staff member put a ZG on the back of the medal because that was my initials, and they told me not to let anybody steal it. So when I got back to the St. Anne's orphanage, I put it in a small little Lego box, which I got this Lego box and I got action figures for being the best behaved child. That was part of the gift package I was able to get at the time. It was pretty nice to be able to do this. I also had a school downstairs that was pretty into teaching us. I remember being taught how to do those weird puzzles. They were teaching quite a bit of math and shapes. They were teaching quite a bit, and they had a reward system where the better you did in class, you earned points, and at the end of the year, you got to pick out a prize depending on your grades and point system. And I got pretty high points. I got more Legos and a ball, and I was doing pretty well. I was not the top of my class, but I was out of like 30 kids or so, or 25 kids. I was number 3 to 5 on just about everything. I always wanted to be just not the best, but I wanted to try to do my best. So, like during the spelling bee, I did surprisingly well. but this was right at first grade. Once, when my mother had me redo first grade for no reason other than she wanted me to be the oldest kid in every class. That's what she said, at least to the teacher and everybody else. When my teacher said that was nonsense and she wanted me to go to the second grade, my mother yelled and yelled until she got her way. Then she gave me an overdose, put me in ballet when the doctors needed to look into a neurological disorder. Then, when the teachers and doctors wanted to look into this further, and when her son was talking about an overdose and calling it I lost my eyesight, couldn't feel his hands, I went unconscious, lost all my senses. I mean, the 7 year old's talking like that and he wants to know what's going on. My mother's saying, oh, it's a bunch of pills I gave him and it's an allergy attack. Don't pay no attention. Then she moves me to Texas as soon as they pay too much attention. So, yeah, I have a lot of memories of my orphanage and my mother doing awful things all the way up to Westford. Then I have some decent memories in Texas. Then I have decent memories of a girl named Christina Stiers in New Mexico, and I have a really terrible PTSD memories of this big black guy choking me out on couches, floors, me suffocating, me passing out, me having seizures in the outside in the woods during winter. I have memories of me just shaking and falling to the ground unconscious and then waking up sore. Uh, well, there's no kids out there no more. I'm just by myself in a field. It's just scary shit. Um, so now that I've talked about it, I should be able to fall asleep with an audiobook and just go to sleep. So that's what we're going to try to do now. And if you notice, the more I talk, my voice gets a little more high pitched as I go on. But as I relax here and slow down the nervous system, my voice will go back to normal because my nervous system will relax. But also, the pain in my back and legs and the shocking goes away, but I lose the ability to move my legs or really feel my nervous system. So when I try to walk in the mornings or just try to run, I bump into things. Sometimes I fall down. It's just weird. I can walk, but with lots of difficulty. And with my GI and kidneys, I cannot. If I have an infection in my mouth, if I have an infection in my arm or leg, if I have an infection in my kidneys or GI or something else that causes any pressure on the nervous system by taking up a throbbing or a sharp pain that will go through my nervous system, just forget it. And I got to stop talking because I can feel it more and more. You might be able to hear my voice as I try to talk and sometimes stutter and sometimes use a word replacement.